His name is John Golnik. He's running in the 5th Congressional District against a very vulnerable Nikki Tsongas. John Golnik, welcome to Pundit Review Radio.
Kevin, thank you so much for having me, and may I just take a minute to wish all the moms and grandmas and all the special women in people's lives out there a very happy Mother's Day.
Excellent. Good way to start, John. Thank you. 5th Congressional District, Nikki Tsongas. She's been in for 2 terms. Of course, widow of Paul Tsongas, a guy that I used to love when I was a liberal college student. I even spent a January freezing my butt off in New Hampshire, knocking on doors for Paul Tsongas. I really respected him. His wife is a very nice woman, but as far as being a member of Congress, she is a down-the-line lefty. She's an Obamacare supporter, and back in the last cycle, she barely won re-election against John Oganowski. What were the factors, John, that motivated you to throw your hat in the ring against Nikki Tsongas this time around?
You know, Kevin, to be honest with you, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a small businessman, and I'm someone who's unhappy with the direction of the country, and I want to ensure that this country has left a better place for my kids than the way I found it.
Tell us a little bit about your background, John. People are just getting to know you. You're out there. I see your schedule through Twitter. We talk so many different times when I have these different folks on, like Sean Ballat and Jeff Perry, about the schedule that you keep and the meetings and the rubber chicken dinners and the city council, the town Republican committee meetings and all of the things you're out there doing. Tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of your family and your business background.
I live in Carlisle, Massachusetts, which is a small town that we share the high school with Concord. Carlisle is about a little less than 5,000 people. I've been married to my wife, Phyllis, for 12 years. I have a son, Zeke, who's 11, and a daughter, Tilly, who's 8. And we've been living in Carlisle since 2001. I went to high school down in Florida, came up north to go to school, went to Dartmouth College, worked for a year, and then went back and got a degree in international economics from Johns Hopkins and a business degree from Wharton.
Wow.
And I'm a small businessman.
Talk about a curriculum vitae. Holy smokes.
So professional student for a while. I always laugh. I tell people the one thing I got out of my MBA was I found my wife.
Hey, that most people just get a huge bill.
Yeah, well,
you came out ahead.
Student loans, so I can certainly can prove to people that I was a student for a while.
Yeah, the student loans could be crushing when you go for those postgraduate degrees.
Yeah, especially when your folks, they want you to. They say, well, we'll help you with the undergraduate, but grad school's on you.
I got that same speech, John.
Yeah, it's a good one, I think. I mean, then it really forces you to make the right decisions for the right reasons.
Yep, it sure does. And I remember getting out of college, and the biggest bill I had, even higher than my rent, was my student loan payment.
That's right. That's exactly right.
And I was one of those suckers that actually paid it back instead of just defaulted on it.
In mine, I just have a direct debit, so I make sure I pay those on time.
Yep, you got to do it. Tell us about the business. You said you're a small business owner. I think that is something that's critical because, as we've heard so many times, small business is the engine of the economy. More people employed in companies with 50 or less than are in the Fortune 500. What kind of business are you involved in?
About 18 months ago, I started a small business where I'm a licensed reseller of Boston College merchandise and apparel. So we're licensed by the College Licensing Board, and we resell, anything, sweatshirts, T-shirts, hats, things of that nature. So we're very happy that Boston College won the Frozen Four, because that's obviously always good for business.
Yeah, it sure is. Too bad my mother-in-law doesn't live in your district. She's a huge BC fan and supporter. She'd be voting for you just on that.
Send her to our website, College Sports Fanatics.
Awesome. All Boston College stuff, huh?
That's right, all Boston College.
All right, go BC.
Go BC.
And to learn more about your campaign, it's johngolnik.com. That's JONGOLNIK.
.com, that's correct.
Now, I guess give us your platform. What are your core issues that are motivating you and that you want people to know about, most especially your positions on? I
mean, right just to start, look, people are tired of not being listened to. So, I'm finding as I run for office, I spend an awful lot of time talking, but it's just as important to spend a lot of time listening. And, people are fed up. I think the Scott Brown election certainly proved that they were tired of not being listened to and not having the Democratic leadership in Washington, D.C. listen to us. I think that we need to focus on jobs. People asked me the other day, what are the 3 most important issues I think that face this country? And I said jobs, jobs, and jobs, not necessarily in that order. I think we're in a jobs crisis in this country, and I think that one of the big problems that health care legislation that passed, aside from it passing, was that we spent 12 months focusing on that instead of focusing on how to create jobs in the private sector in this country. Not to mention that the health care plan is a piece of job-killing legislation in and of itself.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact that, as we talked about in the first hour of the program, a lot of these big employers are looking to dump health care coverage altogether and pay the fines. It's cheaper for them.
How many times did we hear, if you like your health care, you can keep it? Now, that just simply isn't true. If you're a businessman and you take a look at what the cost is going to be, the fine that you have to pay for not providing health care, and if that fine that you have to pay is less than what the cost of covering your employees have, the very health insurance that your employees love, from a business perspective, you're probably going to get rid of that health care, and then where are your employees left? They're going to be left having to go to those state exchanges.
Yeah, welcome to the public option.
There you go.
Yep. John Golnik is the guest. He's running in the 5th Congressional District against Nikki Tsongas. Very vulnerable Nikki Tsongas. Almost lost last time around to John. Was it John or Jim Oganowski?
Jim. It was Jim Oganowski.
Jim.
They ran in the special election in October 2007 because Representative Meehan had left to go run UMass Lowell, and she outspent Jim by about 8-1, and he only won by 6%. So she didn't have anyone run against her in 2008, which was the regular election cycle, which was 13 months later. So this will be her first defense.
Okay, so she's going for her third term then.
Yeah, well, she has.
And a half. Yeah,
it is. She's completing her first full term, but her second term because she only had a year to that first election.
617-266-6868, toll free 877-469-4322. That's the phone number if you want to talk or you have a question for congressional candidate John Golnik. He's running against Nikki Tsongas in the 5th Congressional Districts. Once again, 617-266-6868, toll free 877-469-4322. John, tell me about the state GOP and how they are or are not helping your campaign.
I have been in touch with the state GOP, Chairman Nassour, and I've spoken to them. I mean, they certainly help me out with questions that I might have and things like that. But they're focusing. Their big focus is obviously on the governor's race. So, and that's fine. I mean, I recognize that and a lot of times in these races we need to run our own races. But they're always available for me if I have any questions or anything like that.
And you're out there, meeting voters in all these different kind of forums and events, and trying to raise money. One thing that I think really made Scott Brown possible wasn't just the timing and the arrogance of Marsha Coakley. It wasn't all of that. It really, I think, boiled down to the fact that he was attractive to disaffected Democrats, independents. Most people are registered independent in this state.
Right.
And it was because of not just what he was saying on the issues, but the style and the way in which just the manner that he brought to politics. Did you notice that yourself, and are you trying to emulate those parts of the Scott Brown upset win?
I am really, look, I recognize that people are upset. And people are angry. And when they're not being listened to and they're being ignored, they're prone to be that way. But I do say that in this election we're lucky because there's two very contrasting paths that we want to take this country to a better place. The Republicans have one and the Democrats have one. And I think that we can run on a very contrasting path to where we need to take this country, and that comes to lower taxes and cutting down on this deficit spending and focusing on creating jobs in the private sector. So I know people are mad, and a lot of people say, look, you need to attack people, you need to get upset with people, and look, I'm upset as the next person, but at the end of the day, we can run against our opponent's record, and I don't think we need to keep a measured tone as we do it.
I couldn't agree more, and I think we're